Yes. So this one is it's got a fun story to this whiskey, which is always nice. This is one of 4 Macallan Replica bottlings. Is this a series you're
not
at all?
I'm very familiar with Macallan.
Well, that's good.
You could argue I've been overexposed to Macallan, but I've never heard of this series.
Sure. So the story behind this is that back in the day, I think it was maybe around the 2000s or so, Macallan were approached by a private individual who had this amazing collection of antique Macallans.
Okay.
Kind of distilled, 1870s, 1890s, like incredible.
Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah. So Macallan didn't feel that way. They thought this is amazing. Bought all these really old bottles, thought this is so great, what an amazing story. Let's create replicas of these antiques which we've purchased, which can be widely available, people can buy them, and it's
So one of the bottles they purchased looked like this?
Exactly.
Okay, great.
So this one is the 1874. So the original bottle was meant to be distilled 1874, so in terms of value of that bottle, it's it's ridiculous.
It'd be crazy,
Tens of
yeah.
So Macallan went ahead, got these designs drawn up, got all these bottles filled, labelled, and then somebody thought, how do you know the originals are legit?
Okay.
And that's when the penny dropped for Macallan and thought, oh crap.
So did they open the originals that they bought? So
they tested the originals and they were 100% fake.
Oh.
It's a little bit embarrassing. So Macallan had spent all this money buying back their own product.
You said there was a few bottles in the series as well.
Yeah. So this is one of 4 examples that they
wow.
replicated. But by this point, they'd already committed to the series. They'd already filled tens of thousands of bottles.
Wow.
So it's now a series that Macallan probably aren't going to talk too much about. It's quite an embarrassing episode in their history.
Isn't that interesting? It looks great. It looks really old school.
I think bottles from that 19th century, early 20th century, they look amazing.
Yeah.
They look really, really cool. But the authenticity issue is massive.
Yeah.
And the problem, particularly, like my background is whiskey auctions. If you approach, your Macallans, your Gordon MacPhails, whatever, a lot of the time they don't have a record of bottlings from that
in the 1870s.
Just there's people bought a whiskey and they opened it and they drank it and they threw it away.
They weren't even maturing whiskey that readily. No. I mean, it's not like you weren't getting old whiskies back then, were you?
It was a completely different time. So this one, I think they've obviously replicated the style of the bottle and the label, and I believe they also replicated the
what
style
they thought the liquid would be like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this should be different to,
it should be different to everything. I would think of. I suppose when I think of Macallan now, I obviously think of that big, chewy, heavy, sherried style. This, I suppose, could be a nod to just what whiskey was like back then.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. That is bizarre.
I have no idea what to expect.
Have you come across? So you've come across these bottles before on the auction?
Yeah, I'm aware of the 4 bottling. I've never tasted any. Nowadays they sell for a couple of £100 each because they're quite quirky and they've got a nice story to it. In terms of the quality of the liquid, no idea. So very excited to try this one.
Excellent. Well, let's crack it open. We'll have to do a small artistic cut.
Let's see what see if we can get into this. Let's have a look.
Because I just tried to. We always get the hardest bottles to open.
Oh, I think it might be. We're in business.
Well done. Let's hope there's something promising underneath that.
I know. Hopefully there's a screw cap. Not a screw cap. Oh, look what it is. It's another bloody cork.
We hate this.
Right. We've actually got corkscrew handy. Ross, you did a great job.
Oh, yeah, the Imperial collapsed on me last time. So, but I mean, if this was only produced in the 2000s, then
the cork should still be in
good decent nick.
You'd hope.
And I wouldn't.
I mean, I suppose if they are producing a replica of the original, they've got every detail correct. Because it would have been a driven cork. Oh, yeah, that's good effort, actually. Oh.
Almost all of it. Almost
so you can dig out this last little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry to go off camera. Let me come back on. Can't get this off. So broken cast, broken cork. Who thought opening a bottle of whiskey
pain in the arse
would be so hard? In fact, this is going to be more difficult now.
You poke it through if it needs to be.
Yeah. I think I've got it. Hey. Okay, that could have went worse, and there's a little bit at the bottom there.
I'm trying to scoop out that last bit.
Yeah. I mean, what I'll say is, if this, maybe this is authentic to the 1870s, because this is a pain in the arse. And I'm probably going to get a lot of stick. Oh well, I've lost that bottom.
You started so well.
Right, so...
Tidy up our mess.
Tidy up the mess. Again, I'm already in a bad mood because of how hard that was.
I know. You know what? I hate Macallan. Just because of their shitty corks. Right, let's give the liquid a try, shall we? I'll let you do the honours.
Yeah.
So this one, as we say, is a replica of a fake Macallan, said to be distilled 1874.
It's got a really good colour on it.
Yeah, but there's not any details on the label, I don't think, about cask type or age or...
It doesn't, it's 45%. It may be artificially coloured. Macallan, modern Macallan, one of the things that they pioneer is that all their whiskey is naturally coloured.
Yeah.
So as an official Macallan product, I'd be inclined to say this should be naturally coloured.
You'd hope so.
I think I'd be really surprised if it wasn't, because when people think about the biggest brands, they assume it's all artificially coloured, but Macallan are actually one of the most honest with that. I've got a wee bit of cork in mine. Cheers.
Oh, no, cheers. This looks right up my street, actually.
It looks like Macallan and smells like Macallan to me.
It seems almost like, not that this is a novelty product, but it was produced to, obviously replicate this antique bottle, and, it's got a good story to it. It seems odd they would use exceptional whiskey in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. It's a bit like, the modern day James Bond bottlings.
When these were released, were they quite expensive? Do you remember? Was it a series of 4? Did you have to buy all 4? Or?
I don't think you had to buy all 4. They weren't, I think they were released, I can't remember, maybe like 1999, 2000s-ish.
Okay.
So probably not ridiculous, but they've become very popular, quite collectible.
It's quite a fun thing to have a bottle that says 1874 on it. I mean, it's a wee bit disingenuous, I suppose, because now we know it's not, but...
Yep. Smells delicious though. Big sherry flavours.
Yeah, it does say on the back to replicate the original bottle distilled in 1874. I suppose that's how they get around it. Smells delicious. Raisins, dates, leather, exactly what you expect from a modern day Macallan.
Do you expect that?
I certainly do, yeah.
I feel like modern day Macallan, and it's such an easy thing to say.
I've perhaps been spoilt, I suppose, with all this sherry oak stuff.
These days it's very much like, it's all about, the quality of the casks, and, it's not the big sherry beasts that they used to be back in the day. But this is, for me, it's just like great old school Macallan.
Big sherry Macallan. Obviously, added texture now that I've put the cork into the bottle. So you're welcome for that.
What a treat.
A bit chewier.
That's delicious. We'll give this a try. As we say, it's bottled at 45%, so it should have a bit of body to it. And that's a generous trend for modern day Macallan as well. I think that's great.
Really tasty, isn't it? That's way better. There's no way 1874 whiskey was as good as that.
No, I think it's it's odd that it's that good.
Isn't it? Because you could argue, it's very personal, but you could argue that it's tastier than a lot of the Macallan that's currently being released.
Very much so. And I think it's odd because it feels odd to buy something like this to drink it.
Yeah.
And obviously these days it's getting a bit pricey. It's like high hundreds.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see what this is as well, because people right now, particularly Macallan drinkers, are really, really fixated on age statement and getting really annoyed by these new duty-free non-age statement. This is a non-age statement. We have no idea what this is apart from it's Macallan. It's really tasty.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I think it's everything you'd want a sherry whiskey to be. So it's quite thick, it's quite viscous, it's chocolatey, it's dried fruits. I think it's a big whiskey, bit of cork. Yeah. With whiskies like this, often it is at quite a cask strength as well, which turns it into a completely different beast. But at 45%, you could absolutely guzzle this.
I could do that with some friends and really enjoy myself. Yeah, it's a really nice bottle of whiskey. It's very Moorish. And it would go great with chocolate or cheese.
With ice cream and stuff.
It's really indulgent.
Yeah.
You could put this over ice cream. That's how indulgent it is. I love the nose. It is old school. It is a bit woodier. Now that I go back to it, maybe not what I associate with the modern day Macallan Sherry Oak. Maybe it is more of a kind of one of the big boys, like a big Glendronach, like a really heavy sherry influence.
18.
Yeah, Allardyce. Yeah.
That is a stunning dram, actually.
I'm really impressed, and I'm really surprised as well.
It feels like big sherried whiskies like this are almost a bit like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I think watching a rom-com with a big jar of Nutella or something. Something you don't really want to admit to, but it's great, and
I think
it's not a sophisticated.
To think that this is a result of what was buying, false bottles.
Yeah.
What a fantastic accident to happen. Yeah. And if this is what this one's like, and you said there's 4 in the series.
Yep.
The other ones, I'm hoping now the bar is raised, because that's really tasty.
Yeah, this is delicious. So what a surprise, what a treat, and
yeah, incredibly hard to open, but we'll blame that on 1874.
I'd say it was worth it.
I would say it was worth it.
Well,
cheers.
What a dram.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.